What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, shout out to the brother Lawrence for the donation to the channel via the Cash App. And his question basically was if Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, and Tim Hardaway had been teammates during the 80s and 90s, would they have been the best team in the NBA? And I mean, if they are together on a team, these three players, who separately from each other, their highest pathway of success was 6 championships, 2 NBA finals, and the one who had injury issues won a conference final back in 1997, right? Who actually lost to the guy who had the 6 titles. And then Malone lost to the guy that had 6 titles too. And if there are no other super teams, everything else the same. I mean, I could definitely see that possibility. I mean, you look at Tim Hardaway's playmaking, right? You look at Tim Hardaway's playmaking. You look at Karl Malone with his scoring and rebounding. You look at Michael Jordan with his all-around game. You know, people tend to think of the scoring, but he was a great defensive player, a good rebounding guard, especially offensive rebounding. His playmaking was very good. I mean, yeah, if you just have the appropriate pieces surrounding this nucleus of talent, then yeah, I could see this team winning a few championships. Now, the thing is, in real life, Michael Jordan, I believe, was drafted in '84, Karl Malone in '85, Tim Hardaway, I think, was drafted in '89, if I'm not mistaken. So this team would actually come together until Michael Jordan's 6th year in the NBA. But you know, honestly, if Jordan still had a pretty good or really good team and his power forward was Karl Malone, I think they're doing some good ish. You know what I mean? I mean, is Scottie Pippen still the small forward? Because can we make an argument that the 1990 Bulls, now it would require different defensive assignments and all that, but could you make an argument if the 1990 Bulls had Karl Malone instead of Horace Grant, that they could have beaten the Pacers? The Pistons? It's a possibility. So, you know, yeah, I could definitely see that team succeeding. Now, just with those 3 players, right? So you have Tim Hardaway at point guard, Michael Jordan at shooting guard, and Karl Malone at power forward. Hardaway had a tendency on defense to gamble a bit. He got steals, but you know, he wasn't necessarily a great one-on-one defender. You know what I'm saying? Though he could strip you. Of course, Tim Hardaway had that great crossover dribble, nicknamed the UTEP. I think it was called the UTEP two-step, right? And before we saw Allen Iverson, his crossovers was the best that we had ever seen. You know what I'm saying? So he had his crossover. Michael Jordan had his fadeaway jumper, which became more popular, I would say, in the mid 90s. Karl Malone really didn't start developing that fall-away jumper of his until the mid 90s as well. So, yeah, I think with this team, with this team, the Bulls might need some sort of shot blocker at center. Trying to think of the players at the time. Maybe a Tree Rollins or something. I'm not sure. They need a shot blocker at the rim. If they still have Scottie Pippen, well, that's a good team right there. That's it. And if that's the squad, that's a championship team. By the way, Tim Hardaway is criminally underrated. Criminally underrated. For his career, I think he averaged 17 points and 8 assists. I think for his career, he averaged like 8.2 assists per game or something like that. 8.2, 8.3 assists. And when you look at those averages of 17 and 8, there's only been a handful of guys to average 17 and 8 for their careers. And there are guys like, I mean, off the top of my head, you're talking about Magic, Isaiah, Kevin Johnson. I want to say Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook. That might be it. That might be it. I can't remember exactly how many assists did Oscar average. Was it more like 7.5 for his career, or was it 8? I can't remember. But the other players that did actually accomplish that are all pretty much in the Hall of Fame or have Hall of Fame trajectory. So, yeah, they both had dog in them. All three of them had dog in them. Yeah, I think that would be a multiple championship winning team, especially in the 90s after the arrival of Tim Hardaway. That's when I think that they would officially be on dynasty level. But you can make an argument with that if they have Karl Malone and let's say they still got Scotty. It's just a lot of, what ifs. I'm also wondering, are they still coached by Phil Jackson? And are they still using the triangle with Tim Hardaway? But, because I'm thinking with Tim Hardaway, especially if this was Tim Hardaway before that knee injury, even though it's the Eastern Conference, and you tend to see more of a half court game in the Eastern Conference. I think with Tim Hardaway, they need to play a little faster, especially if this was Mike and Karl Malone in their primes, they're like in their late 20s. They play a little bit faster, and not all the time, because Tim Hardaway played in Miami, and that was a slower paced offense, and he's still putting up numbers. You know what I'm saying? But a little mix of it at least. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, tell me what you guys think about this.